Well, hello everyone. You're here to show you the Matthew McGuire is like your germs is like you have right here is talking about with germs. It's like the definition for germs right here, and then right here is a picture of me, and then I think this picture right here, of course, is like we drew this off of a photo that I have around, and if I remember right, that I think it was a it may have been one of my preschool photos. It was, but it's basically talking about with Matt McGuire germs is talking about is that the fact about that whenever I used to go to school, of course, that was pretty much was my nickname, and a lot of the classmates whenever I was going to school that they would name me. You say some of them would even name me Giggles. It was I think one time that my nickname was Giggles, and then another time that they would give me a nickname by the name of what you call of other names that they had for me, that Skinny, other than Stick Boy, that it's like Matt Skinny or something like that. But other than that, it's like other than what you call his classmate tease. But other than that, that one nickname, of course, that they did call me quite often, of course, was Matt McGuire Germs. It's like for whatever reason that they just want to kind of give me a tease, as by you call me by the name of you say of Matt McGuire Germs. And what I mean is by that they would actually I remember that a lot of times it was during class and in lunchtime that a lot of times that they would what you call they would do that hand motion to where that they would touch me and then touch somebody else and mention it's like Matt McGuire Germs and stuff like that, just normal tease. And I guess with most teachers, I guess they could probably say that that's normal for most classmates to pick on other kids, and then of course and then later on that they realize that a lot of them would probably think about it. It's like, when you kids ever gonna grow up, whatever it is. But other than that, is that the topic about Matt McGuire Germs is basically what I'm talking about. Of course, is maybe that whole point about this whole Matt McGuire Germs could have been a fact about is maybe writing that you'll do like a school report about the study about germs. Is that a lot of times that people begin to wonder. It's like whenever they do get sick over something, it could be maybe food poisoning, or it could be something related to maybe something in the air that they were breathing or whatever it was. That a lot of times with most of us will probably ever wonder about sickness. That it could be viruses or allergies, whatever it is. That a lot of times begin to wonder about the study about germs. And I a lot of times would always wonder about that, is about germs. It's like what do they want? It's like why do they pick on what you call maybe human beings, or maybe you say babies, or anything like that, anything related to like any living thing. But because I remember my parents bought me a book one time that I think they checked the book out from the library. I think it was a library book that they checked that book out from the library about germs. And of course there was a few paragraphs. It was basically talking about germs. And of course from those paragraphs, it was one of those was talking about a type of germ that I guess that they could be found in water, or as like in other say maybe sinks, you say places where more likely that places that you would normally find germs a lot of times, that a lot of times it's like sinks, and maybe other underneath the sinks, or it could have been garbage cans. I guess a lot of times that you would be able to find, it's like the particles that you cannot see, of course, that more likely they could probably think about. Which I remember in science class that I remember that a lot of times that they would use like what you call a microscope, to be able to look, to see the particles, the particles that were in inside of the whatever formula that they were studying. But anyway, you got right here is like you say is the McGuire germs, and then of course right here is that you got this type of germ right here. It's like a type of worm. But I remember class was not it was not my third grade class, but of course it was my at the high school, my sophomore year, that I remember that that they do like a little assignment to where that they would put this formula on your hands, and then they would have it glow. That they would turn off the lights and have you have this like powdery stuff that they would put on your hands, and they would shine the light, and then it would show the amount of germs that you had on your hands. And I remember that we went to the bathroom just to wash off our hands, but the type of stuff that they had you use in class a lot of times was basically talking about is that it's like this powdery stuff that I think powdery stuff, or it may have been a lotion. I think it was like a lotion type cream that they would put on have you put on your hands, and then they would turn the lights off, and then it would glow, and then you would see all the visible parts of your hand that were more likely covered with germs. And a lot of times that they would you would go in the bathroom, and then after they shine the light again, and then there would still some visible parts of your hand where you rub the cream, that they would still have germs on it. But I wonder, I'm like, yeah, a lot of times about germs, the study about germs is a fact about that you probably think about is that I guess you can't really eliminate all of them, kill all the germs, but on your hand too, that it's like with most germs that you can probably think about is like the way it is just wash your hands often, and of course is to try not to spread them, is just by it's like taking this like the vitamins, and along with you say hand sanitizers, stuff like that, it's like wipes, anything related to Lysol, Lysol, it's like sanitizers it is. But anyway, but I remember this right here. This was back, I think I'll pick a day in random, is January 10th of 1993. It was the book I was reading. Of course, it was Castles of Sand, and I remember the teacher would call your name, and then of course they would call your name and hand you the books and stuff that you needed, for your classes reports. And I remember the teacher handed me the book. The teacher would hand me everything else. I remember all the other students were getting the books, Castles of Sand, and for whatever reason that she did not give me one. And I remember that she wanted me to do a school report, something related to an English class or something like that. And like you were supposed to read the book. It's like you're supposed to read the book, and to be able to turn in the assignment, and read the book. But anyway, you're supposed to read read the book, but to be able to turn in the assignment. And a lot of times is that I'm like, well, I never was given a book, and so I remember that she found a spare book. Apparently she had a spare book around, and so she gave me a spare book. But like I was wondering at the beginning, nearly 5 weeks later, I think it was 5 or 10 weeks later, something like that, that she told me, because I remember that I I went to 2 different classes. Apparently I would see another teacher for another something else related to education that I was doing, and then going to that class. And I remember that that they would want me to do a report or whatever, like, well, you never gave me one or something like that. But anyway, a lot of times it's like with most schools, it's like, yeah, that I can still remember that book. And then of course I don't even remember all the stories that I read about in that book. But on your hand too, to know about is about, so far as is that I really don't know exactly why. It's like my nickname, which was what you call, is like for McGuire Germs. But on the other hand too, that I could also think about is know about the study about the germs are. It's like how to control about for preventing the germs from spreading. And the way I would think about it, of course, is like that if at least if you were to eat healthy meals, eat healthy and wash your hands often, then more likely you keep clean more often. And then of course is a lot of people probably say maybe take your vitamins. Take your vitamins is like, maybe a tetanus shot. I know a lot of kids, probably don't like getting shots, and then, I really don't either. But of course, either way, it's like either taking a shot or surgery. I'm sure a lot of kids, probably don't even. It's like you say, it's like, well, don't even want to even have their tonsils removed, whatever it is. But a lot of times about the doctor, then what the doctor says, it's like you go to the doctor and then they diagnose you with maybe with strep throat, or it could be scarlet fever or anything like that. Then a lot of times too, it's like to know about our nicknames. Either the nickname could be Matthew McGuire Germs, or the nickname could be what you call as Matthew McGuire and Study Outlaw. But other than that, it's like so far as Matthew McGuire and Germs Coloring.